Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot here, coming at you with something kind of strange that I'm coming across. It's about one of the so-called Donald Trump defendants by the name of Harrison Floyd. A lot of people are making fun of the name, saying Harrison Ford. They're getting confused online or whatever the case is, but um, yeah, he's actually the only defendant, supposedly, that hasn't been able to make bond to get out. But before I continue, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and I want to thank everyone who's been watching my all my content. I'm up to almost 4,000 views in less than a month with almost 40 subscribers, and don't know if that's good, but for me, hey, it is. So I really appreciate everybody joining my channel. But it says here, who is Trump ally Harrison Floyd, the only 2020 defendant held without bond in Georgia? Now, supposedly he went up against some judge today, and he was denied bond. And supposedly the judge that took care of his hearing, she was actually filling in for the judge that's in charge of the case, so she denied him bond, knowing very well that he voluntarily came in. He hasn't been a flight risk or anything like that, but she threw all that at him. I don't know if that's procedure, being that she's only a fill-in into the judge that's checking out his case. It might be. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, not a judge. It just might be the case. But anyway, a lot of people on the left are making a big stink about this. So it says the sole defendant ordered held without bond in Donald Trump's sweeping 2020 election conspiracy case was also recently charged with assaulting an FBI agent. Now, this is by the Huffington Post. Okay, so all the wording is going to be based around what they, what they're spewing is just a non-stop, repetitive conspiracy. January 6th, and they just. I mean, again, right here where it said the sole defendant ordered held without bond in Donald Trump's sweeping 2020 election conspiracy case. In other words, he lost by a landslide. Bullshit. Numbers do not dictate that. But that's for another video. That when I get more information, I'll show people what I'm talking about. But anyway, it says Harrison Floyd, the former director of the group Black Voices for Trump, is one of 19 people, including the former president, who turned themselves in at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta under suspicion of conspiring to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Now, there's two articles I'm reading from, so it's going to take a minute, so please bear with me. And there's something I need to show you that just doesn't sound right, and anybody with half a brain will see what I'm saying and understand that this case against Trump, is going to fall flat on its face. And you'll see why in a few minutes, I should say. Floyd, also known as Willie Lloyd Floyd III, was booked Thursday on charges of conspiracy to solicitate false statements in writing, influencing witnesses, and violating the state's Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, which is the RICO law. Now, if I'm correct when it comes to the RICO law, because born and raised in New York, the RICO law started when Giuliani was mayor, when he first came in, before 9/11. And if I remember correctly, he was a big part of that to bring down like the mob and certain organizations and stuff like that. But now they're trying to say this is a big RICO case, okay? Which I find hard to believe, because if that was the case, then by right, the leader to Black Lives Matter, she should be in prison, and everybody that had anything to do with Black Lives Matter and all the riots that took place, that they participated in, all the carnage, all the chaos, all the murder that happened during those riots. Because by right, that is a group of people that are affiliated with each other. The leader to Black Lives Matter, okay, she instigated nearly every single damn riot, okay, got away with tens of millions of dollars, okay, didn't do anything for the black community, squandered it, and that woman is walking around, just spending money left and right in New Orleans, in the Bahamas, wherever she can spend money, and most of it is towards the Rainbow Flag Mafia community. But again, that's another story. It says all of the other defendants have posted bond. Stephen Lee, Illinois pastor, was the final defendant arrested and released Friday morning. But Floyd remains jailed as of Friday afternoon due to not having a prearranged bond set like the others. This is him right here. He specifically told the judge that he doesn't have money like that. And you would think they would have given him, he even said he couldn't afford a lawyer. You would think they'd appoint him a public defendant. But in the video, the judge doesn't even offer that. Again, I'm assuming it's because she's only filling in. So she's holding him, and she does state a few times that certain things will have to be brought up when the judge that's handling his case comes back. Again, that may be true. So I'm not going to, speculate too much on that, even though if you watch the video, she is smiling and smirking as if she's full of glee. But I digress on that. So it says Floyd's court-listed attorney, Carlos Salvador, did not immediately respond to Huffington Post's request for a comment on Friday. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Floyd was recently charged with assaulting an FBI agent. Now, this is where it starts to get weird, because they're trying to, if you just stay with me, you'll see how this is going to take a weird turn. Okay. It says 6 months ago, Floyd was separately accused of assaulting an FBI agent serving him a subpoena at his Maryland home. He was arrested on February 23rd and charged with simple assault on a federal officer. Now, he mentions this in front of the judge, that he flew in on his own accord. He was never a flight risk. That it's a simple assault, which is a misdemeanor. It says, according to a copy of the criminal complaint filed in May, 2 agents attempted to hand Floyd the subpoena in person, and he was returning to his Rockville home. The agents said that they first called Floyd, whom they knew to be a retired Marine and a professional MMA fighter, and spoke with him over the phone in a recorded conversation. They introduced themselves as federal agents and said they needed to serve him a federal grand jury subpoena. Okay? Granted. Though the subpoena's purpose was not disclosed in the complaint, Special Counsel Jack Smith, ring a bell anyone? Smith's office was subpoenaing various people around this time for documents and testimony related to the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Now that right there in itself is bothersome, because it's almost as if this dude, Jack Smith, and anything that has to do with Trump, it's going to evolve around January 6th, okay, 2020, with the election in November, where they're going to try to bowl everybody together and say this whole group of people, aka the whole Republican Party and their voters, are part of a conspiracy to overthrow the government. You see where I'm going with this? It's going to get better, so stay with me. The FBI agent said Floyd refused to accept the subpoena while outside his apartment, and that he ignored one agent's display of their badge. Okay, an agent stuck the document in his front door as Floyd was closing in on them, according to the complaint. As the agent started to exit down the staircase, they say they heard Floyd yelling from behind them. He then allegedly rushed down the stairs at them, screaming obscenities. Floyd allegedly struck one of the 2 agents in the chest, knocking them backward while yelling in their face. He allegedly backed away after the second agent flashed the firearm secured at his waist. Now this is Floyd saying, "I haven't seen anything. You haven't given me anything. I don't know who the fuck you are." Floyd was alleged to have yelled after backing away and retreating toward his apartment. Okay. It says Floyd allegedly told 911 he almost went for the agent's gun. The agents left and Floyd called 911 to report that 2 people, one of them armed, had accosted him. He said the people followed him into his house, threatened him, and threw things at him, according to the complaint. They were lucky I didn't have a gun on me because I would have shot his fucking ass, Floyd told the 911 dispatcher. When police officers arrived, Floyd said he felt like he'd been grabbed by his feet by the FBI agents and he was climbing the stairs to his apartment. He acknowledged the document left on the floor and showed police officers a photo of the agents. Business cards, he said, Showing a photo of the agent's business cards. He said the photo had been sent to him by his mother-in-law after the agents visited her first while trying to locate him. Okay. I don't know what that is. I'm not touching it. I'm not picking it up, Floyd said of the subpoena left on the ground, according to the complaint. Floyd allegedly told the officers that he went back into his apartment to get a weapon from the kitchen because he had to go fight two guys and make sure they don't come back. He said that when he saw the agent's firearm, he almost went for it. Both agents denied having touched Floyd and said that an audio recording of their encounter with him supports this. Okay. Floyd was arrested that evening and charged with second-degree assault. He was taken into custody at the Montgomery County Detention Center without incident and was subsequently released. Now, this is the first part. If he did all this to an FBI agent, why was he released? Okay? So right there, that is something that, listening to his story and supposedly the FBI agent stories, it's something that needs to be investigated in my part. Now, I'm not saying I'm against him or the FBI agents. I'm just saying that, are they both agreeing or disagreeing? If they're both disagreeing, then why was he set free? If they're both agreeing, then why was he set free? You see what I'm saying? Okay. It says Floyd is accused of trying to influence former poll worker Ruby Freeman. That's this woman right here, if you see her face. Okay. In the Trump indictment, Floyd is among several people accused of pressuring former Fulton County election worker Ruby Freeman after she refused to illegally change the 2020 election votes in Trump's favor. First of all, one person doesn't have that power. But I like the way they word that. After she refused to illegally change the 2020 election, as if she had power for the whole election. Now, mind you, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Okay? Because if they're making it seem, if they would have said she was one of the poll workers that he wanted her to change some of the ballots in her district, that's one thing. But she refused to illegally change the 2020 election results in Trump's favor. Meaning, was she in charge of all the results? Inquiry minds would like to know that. It gets better now. Freeman's Georgia home was repeatedly visited by Trump's associates, and a pro-Trump mob was set upon it. I like that. You see the way they word everything? It's diabolical. Forcing her to live elsewhere for approximately 2 months, she testified earlier this year. Okay. In addition to calling and texting Freeman, Floyd is accused in the indictment of recruiting a one-time publicist for the hip-hop artist Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, to visit Freeman at her home. The publicist, Trevian, hope I said that right, Cuddy, traveled from Chicago and met with Freeman at a local police precinct. Why? Who knows? Cuddy warned Freeman that she needed protection and said she could help Freeman, according to police recordings and reports obtained by Reuters. Okay. Huffington Post, Reuters. Here we go. During their conversation, Cuddy connected Freeman on the phone with Floyd, who was identified to her as Harrison Ford. The pair again told Freeman that she needed protection and that they could help her. Freeman told Reuters, whatever. Freeman said that Floyd and Cuddy tried to get her to implicate herself in committing voter fraud on Election Day, and said that Cuddy offered her legal assistance in exchange for her cooperation. If you don't tell everything, Freeman recalled Cuddy allegedly saying, you're going to jail. It gets better. Stay with me. Why would they tell her if you don't tell everything, you're going to jail? Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Tell everything about what? If these people are working for Donald Trump, they're telling her if you don't tell everything, you're going to jail. Okay? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Now, this is Donald Trump, the people that are going in, they're his co-conspirators, whatever. This is Ruby Freeman. So I'm looking at this article, and I'm like, okay, how did it go from this man being denied bond to having a connection with her? And then I figured, okay, it says here, who is Ruby Freeman, Georgia poll worker cited in Trump's indictment? So I'm going to do something a little different. I'm just going to switch to the next page, okay? Who is Ruby Freeman, Georgia poll worker cited in Trump's indictment? This is where it gets really good. This is what people have to understand. Now, before I continue on this, I want you to sit back and ask yourself, how many since Biden stole the presidency, and since the country and the economy has been turning to shit, how many people, and if you could, whoever watches this, this video, if you can leave it in the comments, how many people have you heard that that you've seen who are leaving the Democratic Party to either go independent or join the Republican Party? Donald Trump's ratings are skyrocketing. He's not up 30-40%. He is up 50-60% in some and against one person, I believe he's up 70%. But the Republican Party, because of Donald Trump and because of the corruption from the Democrats, has been winning favor with minorities. Okay? And the reason why I say that is because how many times do you hear of Republicans leaving the Republican Party to be Democrat? You hardly ever hear that. They either decide to stay in the Republican Party but become a rhino, or they'll leave, become independent, but you rarely hear of a Republican leaving to be a Democrat. Now, the reason why I say that is for a couple of quick things. Number one, whenever there's polling done, everybody knows that whatever party you support, that's where you go work. If you're a Democrat, you work in a Democrat polling facility, independent, Republican, and so on. That's the way it goes. Okay, so with that being said, it says a sweeping racketeering case unsealed in Georgia on Monday against former President Donald Trump and his associates details some of the extreme harassment and intimidation that a former poll worker says she experienced after refusing to illegally change the 2020 election results in Trump's favor. Once again, they're phrasing it as if she's in charge of every single damn vote. Keep that in mind. I have a reason for bringing this up. Okay? Now, mind you, they say that Trump lost Georgia. And I keep bringing this up because they keep wording it as if she's in charge of that. Of all the ballots. Okay? Because they're making it seem as if she was working in one of the poll centers, I can honestly understand when they say, well, she was in this county and that county, but this is the second time they said it. After refusing to illegally change the 2020 election results in Trump's favor. How does one person do that? Keep that in mind. It's going to get good. Stay with me. Former Fulton County election worker Ruby Freeman has said that she was living in fear after being falsely dubbed a professional vote scammer and known political operative who stuffed the ballot boxes with hundreds of thousands of fake votes. Okay? Now, they're trying to say that the phone call that Trump had, talking about find me some votes, and they were telling him, no, you didn't win. But he goes, that's impossible. The numbers don't add up. I sold out every arena, every rally. How is it that I'm short a measly 11,000 votes? It can't be that close. Okay? But go with that information as you will. Now, it says, members of the enterprise travel from out of the state to harass Freeman. I like the way they say that. Harass Freeman, intimidate her, and solicit her to falsely confess to election crimes that she did not commit. States the 41-count indictment filed against Trump and 18 others. What we know about Ruby Freeman. This is where it gets good. This is my point right here. Now, this is her and her daughter. Okay? Freeman volunteered with her daughter, Shay Moss, to serve as a Fulton County election worker on Election Day at State Farm Arena in downtown Atlanta. Okay? She and Moss are both named as victims in the indictment. Now, former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani, who faces charges including solicitations of violations of public oaths, conspiracy, and false statements, falsely alleged that video surveillance taken inside the arena captured election workers, ordered Republicans to leave the room, while suitcases of illegal ballots were secretly added to the mix of legal votes, the indictment says. Okay? Sounds like what the Democrats have been doing, but we'll take that on the chin for now. Giuliani identified Freeman and Morse by name, accusing them of passing around USB ports as if they are vials of heroin or cocaine. These USB ports, he alleged, without proof or explanation, were used to infiltrate the crooked Dominion voting machines, as the incident states. Now, everybody knows that the Dominion machines have been rigged. It's been proven, and that's it. Nobody here can give my video a thumbs down because it's the fucking truth. Dominion has been under scrutiny for the longest, that even the Democrats bitched about it in 2016, saying that the voting machines were tampered with. Same machines, Dominion. Okay, so if they say it, now the Republicans say it, what's the difference? So, here we go. And I'm going to bring this up real quick. Right here, it says, Wandrea Shea Moss, a former Georgia election worker, is comforted by her mother, Ruby Freeman, right, during a House Select Committee investigation into the January 6th attacks on the U.S. Capitol. Now, if you know the January 6th committee that went on, everybody was against Trump that was on that committee, even the Rhino Republicans. They didn't bring in anybody other than people that had a gripe with Trump and Republicans. Nobody. What makes these two women any more different? Remember when I said, how many times do you know of Republicans turning Democrat? Okay? So here it's saying, now, it says federal and state investigators reviewed the footage and determined that Giuliani's allegations were false. The suitcases that Giuliani described were boxes of legal ballots that had been in the room the entire day. The item that the mother and daughter had been filming passing between them was candy, Morse testified. Candy. Okay. Giuliani admitted in a court filing last month that he made false statements against Freeman and Morse. Okay, we'll see. Freeman was repeatedly contacted by Trump's associates. Prosecutors say Stephen Clifford Lee, a pastor, rallied people to pressure Freeman into changing her testimony about what happened at the State Farm Arena. He personally visited her home on December 15, 2020, telling her that he could help her, according to the indictment. Freeman called 911 on Lee 3 times, prosecutors said in a court filing last year. That's her and her daughter. Okay? Ruby Freeman and her daughter attended an event at the White House on the second anniversary of the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Why? I ask you. And I'll tell you why. Here it is. Because Freeman was also visited at her home by Trevian Cuddy, a one-time publicist for the hip-hop artist Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, who was a supporter of Trump. Cuddy identified herself as a crisis manager and told Freeman that she was in danger and said she was there to help. According to indictment, Freeman again called 911. They're saying that I need help. Freeman told a police dispatcher during Cuddy's visit, according to a police report obtained by Reuters, that is just a matter of time that they are going to come out for me and my family. Cuddy told Freeman that she had 48 hours before people arrived at her home, according to a responding police officer's report of the incident. Okay? Now, there was a part here. Now, who is this getting an award by Joe Biden? President Joe Biden awards the Presidential Citizens Medal, the nation's second highest civilian honor, to Ruby Freeman. And boy, oh boy, look at the gleeful clapping. Now, if these women were Republicans working at a polling station, okay, or if they weren't Republicans, they were just people working at a polling station. Isn't this kind of strange? And the reason why I bring that up is because something I read here really quick. Just hold on, because it has to do a lot. I just read it, and it just feels strange. Okay, so bear with me, people. I know this is a little, a little unscripted. I'll get it. Okay, right here. There is nowhere I feel safe. Nowhere do you know. Do you know how it feels to have the President of the United States targeting you? The President of the United States is supposed to represent every American, not to target anyone. But he targeted me, Lady Ruby, a small business owner, a mother, a proud American citizen who stood up to help Fulton County run an election in the middle of a pandemic. So if she was just somebody helping out volunteering, okay, why did she get an award from Joe Biden? And why, like I said, do they keep saying this? That they wanted her to change the election. As if she was the only one in charge, or the only one that had the power to do that. Does anybody find that strange? Because if she was just a poll worker, they could say one of the poll workers this, and that. I know a lot of people that work the polls. They volunteer, they actually make good money for like 10, 20 days, whatever the case is. They make a ton of money. It's just long hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, getting all paperwork together. And then when the polling starts, so I've been offered to do it, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it because I don't have that kind of time. I mean, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of commitment. But out of all the people, you mean to tell me that if she was just a person in charge of, just a regular poll worker, working the polls, how would she have the power? Why would Trump's team only target her? She's just a regular poll worker. But with what kind of power? That's the question people need to ask. Was she in charge of all of it? Was she the head honcho from every polling booth? Because it seems to Joe Biden she's that important to get the second highest civilian honor award in the nation. Does anybody find that strange? And she's the one that's going to supposedly testify. So everybody is going to listen to her statement and take it at face value to try to bring down Donald Trump and countless others. But yet, she wants people to believe that if Trump thought that 11,000 votes were going to help him win, that there's no way she could have done that. That there's no way she could have did that for him. But does anybody think that if she had that power, that she could have stolen the election in Georgia? Food for thought. I'm True Outlaw Patriot. I know the video's a little long, but I hope you like it. Subscribe. Do your research. If you find something other than what I said, let me know. I'll make another video on it. But don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, pass it around. And as always, as I say, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.